Hello, my friends. Wade here with you for the Kingdom Report. In just a moment, you're about to travel with me to Walt Disney World for the first time since the theme parks reopened. It's been just over a month since the theme parks came back online. Why are we doing this now? Well, it's given Disney a 30-day plus period to really perfect everything in terms of health and safety that they have brought online. So we are looking at things from the perspective of how is the experience overall? We're going to be analyzing, taking a look at, and exploring all of those things in this special. In addition to that, you've been inundating us with questions about all kinds of things when it comes to Walt Disney World right now, and they really do kind of fall into three categories. Is it comfortable? Is it safe? Is it worth it? I'm going to cover it all for you. This is your home for trusted theme park perspective. And with that comes honest analysis and our take on what's going on in Walt Disney World during this very unusual time. We hope to give you all the information and data and experience analysis that you will need just in case you are looking to make that very personal decision of visiting Walt Disney World during this global health crisis. As society sort of comes back outside for the first time in many months, we know a lot of people are looking to find some semblance of normalcy in their activities. We recognize that people are tending to look for a bit of an escape. And as folks do that, and there is no necessarily clear end date in sight when it comes to the global health crisis, it does appear that more and more society is looking for, perhaps, a little bit of an understanding as to how to safely live with this, at least for however long we have to. So join me as together we explore Walt Disney World in pandemic. And my journey begins right here at Los Angeles International Airport, one of the busiest airports in the nation, reduced to just a handful of vehicles outside. This is my first trip to LAX in over 5 months after the shutdown that has occurred in the state of California due to the pandemic. And you know, traveling in general concerns you the most. We took a poll of our Kingdom Report audience. 80% of you said traveling to Walt Disney World is more concerning than being at the theme parks themselves. So I'm going to make sure that I cover every base when it comes to my overall travel experience to get to Walt Disney World. We will leave no stone unturned. I will share everything with you. LAX did a pretty good job of spacing everybody out. I breezed through security, not one person in front of me, very quiet. Granted, this is a red-eye flight. I purposely set up a red-eye flight just so I could distance from other people and make sure I had space around me. You'll see that here through the terminal, lots of places are closed. A lot of places I don't think are coming back. And even though they've gone to great lengths to make sure that you are constantly reminded in the terminal that you need to do your part to stay safe from COVID-19, some folks, mostly employees of the airport, not necessarily United, but LAX employees I saw coming through, a handful of which had sort of the face masks as chin straps, something that I will see throughout my journey, but it is definitely something that I took note of. For the most part, United personnel all abided by their own rules, and they wanted to make sure everybody was socially distanced. I will say throughout LAX, it was not hard to socially distance. Lots of people that were there were completely spaced out. Very few people, I should say, were even there to begin with. So it was easy to space out. It was easy to make sure everybody was doing their part because there weren't a whole lot of people to keep track of. You see United going to great lengths to make sure that they are safeguarded in every possible scenario here. And I will say that when it came time to finally board, this is where it got a little weird because they spaced everybody out 6 feet apart, and they made sure that they ran those announcements time and time again, just like the airport was doing general announcements saying, keep that face mask on, up over your nose, up over your mouth at all times. When I finally did board, though, all of this preparation was very interesting to me because it was like, we're taking it seriously. And then I started to make my way down the terminal holding hall, and as I did, this is where I started to see people bunch up for the first time. This is where I began to see a little less social distancing. Finally, when I got on board, you will see it here for yourself. those rules just didn't apply anymore, and flight attendants were not saying anything. Everybody was just kind of making their way to their seats, and it just didn't seem like it mattered after all. So all the preparation, all of the things that they did prior to getting on the plane just didn't seem to matter once we were on the plane. It was something that I thought, definitely going to make note of this and share it with everybody. I wanted to make sure, as I had mentioned, that I was surrounded by empty seats, and fortunately I was, just because I had double-checked the night before in particular. And originally when I booked this red-eye flight, it was far emptier about a month prior than the night before. So it had definitely filled up in that month, proving to me that people are interested in flying again, and more people are getting comfortable with travel. Off we go up into the sky and on our way to Newark Airport in New Jersey. On our way to Newark in the red-eye flight, I do have to say the only reason why I'm doing a connecting flight into Newark and then off to Orlando is because after booking my flight straight to Orlando, I was unfortunately told by United that I would no longer have a direct flight and it would need to connect through Newark. There were no other direct flights to Orlando from LAX. I think it's just part of what they were dealing with as an airline. You see here at Newark, things got even more hairy. At least at LAX, people were spaced out and it wasn't so much of a problem. Here at Newark, people, some of them, wearing masks. Others, not necessarily caring so much. It was like the tri-state area who has finally overcome COVID-19 craziness, still dealing with it, but definitely overcome the worst of it, seemed to have just gotten beyond it at this point. It seemed like less people cared here. It was fascinating. I definitely spaced out, made sure that I was at a distance and as secure as I could be. In another attempt to socially distance everybody, United boarded me first. I was at the back of the plane, and then they went section by section all the way up to the front. When I got on board, I was fortunate to still have empty seats next to me. I did double check the night before to make sure I was in the only area of the plane that had empty seats. However, the rest of the plane did not fare so well. Even with all that social distancing they did to board it, you see people packed in like sardines, one by one, all the way to the front of the plane. This kind of signifies that that's the risk you take when you travel during a pandemic, and also people are getting a lot more comfortable with flying once again. Up over New York we go in that hazy skyline. In just a matter of time, we were in Orlando, getting ready to touch down. I did find it interesting that LAX to Newark, the flight attendants were adamant that you did not stand up unless they called your section to deplane, and they could do that through social distancing. Here in Orlando, the United flight attendants said nothing. Everybody got up at the same time and together pulled everything down like it was normal. Therefore, if that is something that bothers you, you may want to take note. Here in Orlando International Airport Terminal, you see lots of businesses still closed. It is the middle of the day and a nod to a lot of what the country is going through, unfortunately. You jump on board the monorail for terminal-to-terminal travel, and you see folks getting on board. This is the first time that you notice no direction is being given, no official capacity telling anybody what to do, and folks are spaced out all by themselves. I thought this was a great nod of things to come. As we jump from terminal to terminal, we get to Terminal B, and the Magic of Disney store, unfortunately, is still closed in this terminal. However, as we venture on downstairs to the next level, we are going to be greeted by a sign that essentially tells us if you are going to be renting a car, they have now consolidated those operations over in Terminal A, Level 1, that used to be, right alongside Disney's Magical Express, leading up to Magical Express, several of those outlets. They are no longer there, and it is kind of eerie. This is a very long Level 1 floor, and there's no one around. It's kind of surreal. So after 10 hours of being in airports and on flights where mostly health and safety theater was being done more than anything, it was very nice to show up to Disney's Magical Express and to immediately be confronted by not just hand sanitizer, but signage indicating that basically an adult was in the room and that you are going to abide by a set of rules, and everybody's going to be expected to abide by them no matter who they are, no matter what they're doing. You see automatically the changes that had been put in place at Magical Express, from the plexiglass on the front of the podiums at check-in to every 6 feet there is a sign. Every 6 feet there is a marker. It is clear what you need to be doing and where. There are cast members all over this area, even though there aren't guests, telling the handful of guests that have arrived exactly what they need to be doing and exactly where they need to be going. It became clear immediately that Disney is very serious about their health and safety guidelines being followed no matter what. And it really starts here because this is the first impression of Disney that you get from the Walt Disney World Resort as a whole before you start your journey. You see here the only other family near me were several rows away waiting for their resort, Magical Express. I was quickly checked in and told by a cast member, and shown a map, by the way, that I would be sitting at the front of the bus in my own section, and that people that had boarded the bus before me were in their own section, and to not move seats, and that I was assigned. That's never happened before. If you've ever ridden Magical Express, it is open seating typically. Well, not anymore. You see people spaced out in different sections, and nobody was allowed to get up and move. They were all told to remain in the same spot. And one thing I like to mention to everybody is, just in case you didn't know, there's a charging USB port beneath every seat on Magical Express. So after those long flights, if you need to give your phone some juice, well, you have the option right here at your Magical Express seat. And the video that they typically play above you at Magical Express on the way to the Walt Disney World Resort has been replaced with several health and safety videos now, kind of telling you what you're about to get yourself into. And speaking about what you're going to get yourself into, it's time.
All right, everyone, if you would please direct your attention to the front of the coach, you will see one of 5 Walt Disney World entry arches. That's right, we're here. And I have it on good advice that if, as we pass under this arch, we give Mickey and Minnie and Goofy a rousing yahoo, your rooms might be ready. Do you want to try?
Yes.
All right, we're going 3, 2, 1. Yahoo!
Yahoo indeed, and in just a matter of moments we were making our way around the corner to Disney's Pop Century Resort, where we were greeted by this. Never let anyone tell you that a Disney cast member doesn't make a difference in this world. Here at the front door of the lobby, you do see a sign that indicates every health and safety reminder and expectation that is thrust upon you by being here. And once you do enter the lobby, a much more detailed sign as well as a warning of what you're getting yourself into. The lobby itself was very spaced out. I must say that Disney did a terrific job here as my first real impression of a resort at Disney during a pandemic. It might seem a little crowded. That's because everybody's arriving at the same time here, but folks were spaced out, and everywhere I went, someone was cleaning. There was always a housekeeper nearby, wiping things down, ensuring that things were clean, and definitely going the extra mile to, if somebody was sitting somewhere, they came in and sprayed. If somebody had moved to a different area, they waited for you to leave so they could come in and spray. You also see additional instructions and things you've never seen before, like pins that are sanitized and indicate they are sanitized. Also, placing mobile order is something you need to get used to in this new pandemic environment, as Everything Pop, which is the store and restaurant environment, now requires you to check in at the front with that cast member you see in the dead center before you enter. You have to have a mobile order being alerted as ready for pickup via your mobile device on the My Disney Experience app before you can enter. If you want to go into the store, you can do that. They are maintaining capacity levels in the store, so sometimes you cannot enter if it's too busy. However, once your mobile order is ready and there's an indication light that they are ready for you, you get to come on in, and there's directional arrows as well as spaced out 6 feet apart markers as to how you can approach. When you do so, by the way, middle of the day here to set the scene for you, just so you understand. You do realize that all of the bays that are typically open with different options for food are no longer open. There's a very limited menu now when you arrive to the Pop Century cafeteria, and now you order off that limited menu via your mobile device. Everything is shielded off. They've set up these tables in front. You have an indication on your My Disney Experience as to which area, which table you come to pick up your items. Mine was area number 2. I came and I grabbed it. It was waiting for me. And then you have to go grab your drink separately. So long gone are the days where you could walk up and fill your own beverage at the drink cells. Now you have to have a cast member get it for you. This is a chore, by the way, when it comes to just grabbing ice water, because you have to convince the person at the front of the pop store to let you in just to go get some ice water. So it's a bit of a chore, not impossible, certainly something you can do. But if there's a line out front, it is a hassle, I must say, just to get yourself some ice water. And in the harsh Florida summer, you need that ice water at your resort sometimes. Here in the dining area, you do notice that all the tables are spaced out, and many have even been removed at one point or another, so keeping things totally spaced out. At night, it is a different story around here. This is in the evening, around 8:30 in the nighttime, and you see that people are arriving back from the parks as the reduced hours have reopened with the theme parks. You notice here that there's a line to get in for the mobile order and a line to get in for the store itself. In addition to that, the arcade right next to the pop store is closed for the time being, as are all arcades in and around the Walt Disney World Resort properties. Outside the back door, you do get to notice that the pools are in full effect, full swing. You get to take off your mask in the pool. And then the bar areas are open. However, there is extremely limited seating, spaced out, but extremely limited, as well as social distancing guidelines everywhere outside just as much as there are inside. So everywhere you go, there are new security railings, there are new postings, there are new signage pieces everywhere you go. Every 10 feet or so, there's another reminder of what you can expect. Here at the secondary pool off over by the 50 section, you do see that they do have one way in and one way out, and they do control the pool capacity, so they will not allow in so many people as to crowd it. And I'm here in the 50 section. This is my space. I did get a text message that told me, congratulations, your room is ready. I did the mobile check-in, which is what they are asking everybody to do, so you don't even need to go to the front desk now. They will just text you via My Disney Experience app to say, your room is ready. They'll give you your room number, and with your Magic Band or with your My Disney Experience app, you can open up your room all by yourself. So this is a standard room, currently $217 a night at my time of travel, and this is what it looks like. Pop Century Resort recently went through a refurbishment. It's a much more modern, much more sleek look than in past years. If you remember the Pop of yesteryear, Pop Century was okay. I will say that the design of the room and everything at that time was a little tacky for my taste. Right now, it is much more, like I said, modern, much more sleek, a little classier than the last version. Definitely a smarter space layout for how small these rooms are to begin with. You have plenty of room for luggage, like under your bed. You do have lots of shelving in here, some additional space both in cabinets and beneath these countertops. You've got your King James Bible there alongside your safe, some additional pillows down below. It's a pretty big safe too. Alongside this, you also have some shelving units and some additional drawers. The drawers themselves are rather deep. They go pretty far back, so if you bring a lot of clothes, they got plenty of space for you. This is the place to put them. You also see some enhanced cleaning techniques that have gone into the rooms now, and everything that they have done in addition to what they already do in terms of cleaning at Disney Resort hotels. It was nice to have that reminder. They also made sure to wrap the remote just to indicate that this too had been thoroughly cleaned and disinfected. Remotes being some of the grodiest of all of the items in any hotel room anywhere. You also see here the very nice fridge and this whole armoire section that has an additional coffee maker and some shelving units here too to put your knickknacks on if you need to. It's kind of a little kitchenette almost without the sink, of course, and get your coffee on. You got plenty of goodies here in this little unit, so definitely worth using if you need to get your caffeine fix. What I really like about the redesign of these rooms is that they added basically these barn door sliders. It used to be just a curtain. Like I said, it was very tacky for a Disney resort, and it was how they were modeled for so long, but it's nice to have the barn door sliders now. And then in addition to that, place to hang your clothes, and the bathroom itself just feels very fresh, very clean, the whole area. I will say that this section itself was expanded for the sake of having a lot more places to put things, shelving unit wise. You see here underneath just a lot of different spaces where if you are someone that spends a lot of time in the bathroom, well, you got some space to put your items, and you don't have to put everything on a countertop. You also have some nice amenities like, well, your makeup mirror here. It extends out and lights up for you. Oh, feeling fabulous? I know I am. Take a look on into the bathroom, and things are close quarters for sure. They always have been at the value resorts, but the shower itself has turned into such a nice area. The rainfall shower head that they have added in this space is just a godsend. You take a look first and foremost at the new pump machines that they have for your conditioner, your shampoo, and your body wash. Those have also been disinfected and cleaned. They had a little tag on top that said so. And then right up here, like I said, that delightful, wonderful rainfall head. Oh my gosh, I dream about it. I want one in my home. Let me tell you, there's nothing like it. And just outside of the 50s wing of rooms, you see the markers that go all the way up to the Disney Skyliner station. The Skyliner is the transportation that you can take from this resort to other resorts, as well as Epcot and Disney's Hollywood Studios. You see it right out there. And just across the water, Disney's Art of Animation Resort also gets to take part in the Skyliner from this station. So is it safe? Is it comfortable? Disney's Pop Century Resort in pandemic. I will tell you that the safety measures Disney has gone to at this resort have blown me away. I was anticipating some pitfalls. I was anticipating some lack of enforcement. I saw total enforcement. I saw things they thought of I would have never thought of, and was truly impressed by how safe it is at this resort, all things considered. Is it comfortable? The off-peak times certainly are. They cannot increase the capacity by any regard at this point, just because they are already, I think, at their limit in terms of what they can control. And I would say, is it worth it? Overall, guest service is top-notch. I have never seen Disney cast members like this. They were tremendous. And again, if limited capacity remains at this resort, then they can control it. It'll be comfortable, it'll be safe, and it will, in fact, be worth it. Hope you'll stick around and check out my next video where we head to Magic Kingdom in pandemic. Oh, hello, my friends. Wade for the Kingdom Report, back here with you once again for another installment of Walt Disney World in Pandemic. Today focusing on the Magic Kingdom. This, of course, is the series where we take a look at all the new health and safety measures that Disney has put into place across their Orlando property, as well as the new experience overall. I share with you all my analysis and notes from the experience to help you decide whether or not this very personal choice is the right one to make for you and your family. You take a look here as we approach the Magic Kingdom. All pathways now have markers designating 6 feet of distance between each marker. The transportation plaza leads on into a new tent. The tent is staffed with Advent Health employees who now scan your forehead to check and see if you happen to have a fever. If you are not exhibiting any symptoms, it takes about 3 seconds and off you go. Outside of guest relations, you take a look 20 minutes after Magic Kingdom officially opened for the day, and there is a bit of a line. This line is backed up with people who are having issues mainly with their theme park reservations, as you now have to have a reservation to get into a theme park on a given day, as well as your theme park tickets. Here at the main entrance, you are slapped immediately with COVID-19 realities and all the expectations that are coming at you. This is a different Walt Disney World, a different Magic Kingdom, and you are going to be inundated with announcements, kind of like this one, for the rest of the day.
Thank you for visiting us today. Just a few reminders. Please wear a face covering at all times, except when actively eating or drinking while stationary. Clean your hands often and thoroughly. Cover your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing, and maintain physical distancing. Thank you.
I would go on to hear that announcement played throughout the day, time and time again, no matter where I was at, whether I was in line for a ride, maybe I was dining somewhere, perhaps I was just in a common space. That would get played over and over again, repeatedly throughout the hour, even as an encouragement to keep yourself healthy and safe and do the same for others. As we enter the Magic Kingdom, there was no line. Again, it is the first hour of operation for the park day, and Disney has limited capacity, obviously. I'm sure you've heard that lines and wait times are significantly lower. We are going to see 30 days in how that plays out. As we are about to enter through the tunnel, we see some hand sanitizer there, and are reminded that we are leaving today and entering the world of yesterday, tomorrow, and fantasy. As a reminder, theme park reservations are required in order to access a park now, in addition to your theme park tickets, so you need to check out WaltDisneyWorld.com and the My Disney Experience app to ensure that you can go to a park and that it's not booked out and too full, because they do cap that capacity. Speaking of capacity, it's a park that's usually bursting at the seams. Not so much today. Very quiet, very empty, and you will see all throughout the park scattered various health and safety measures that aren't typically there, like this hand sink, portable. You will find these scattered throughout the park. In addition to that, common spaces also have various 6-foot markers laid out in these areas, mainly to encourage you to socially distance for anything that might be like a photo spot or a place where people tend to congregate. As I was standing in Town Square, I saw the horse-drawn streetcar headed my way, a little symbol of normalcy, and then I realized who was riding the horse-drawn streetcar, and it looked like our friends from the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh were arriving. It's Rabbit, it's Piglet. It was nice to see them showing up in Town Square and bringing us some magical cheer. Absolutely a nice treat. At a place like the Magic Kingdom, I think I was most concerned that, if they're going to reopen, this is a place that captivates you, that takes you away. And would it be the same? Would it feel magical still, even in the middle of this mess? And I got to share with you that right off the bat, being greeted like this, that was pretty cool. Definitely a magical touch that I appreciated. Heading up Main Street, I did notice that there are some health and safety measures that Disney is taking that they probably didn't necessarily need to take, but they did it, and I appreciate it. You see the trash cans that are laid out every few feet or so. All were propped open, so that unnecessary contact did not need to get made. I appreciate that, and something that I probably would not have thought of had I run the theme park myself. As I explored Main Street, I heard something coming my way, and it sounded magical too. Now, as great as it was to see Mickey and the gang, one thing that I did notice when these cavalcades tend to happen out of nowhere is people just come to a screeching halt. They get so excited that they kind of forget everybody around them, and so they stop. And as I was standing there, I was socially distanced at that time. I didn't have anybody around me, but by the end of that, I turned around. Not only were there people to the left of me, there were people to the right of me, and they weren't necessarily all that spaced out. I arrived here to Cinderella Castle in all of its majesty, painted up for the 50th anniversary, when, oh my gosh, it's another cavalcade, what? unbelievable. It's like every time I turned around, there was another entertainment cavalcade. There was something else arriving. And again, I mentioned that when it comes to the Magic Kingdom, I was worried that some of that sparkle that they are known for would be diminished in this process. Not so much. As we take a look at that 50th castle, it is not nearly as bright and gaudy as I thought it was going to be. Oh my gosh, it's another cavalcade! Goofy and the gang definitely wanted to say hello, and yeah, like I said, it was no shortage of entertainment, so it was nice to see. On the other side of the castle now in Fantasyland, I assume there isn't going to be a cavalcade interrupting me back here. You do notice that Fantasyland, typically one of the most congested areas of the park, not so much, even in these early morning hours. Everybody's very spaced out, and I noticed here on the back side of the castle that a hallmark of the experience, Cinderella's royal table, where you can dine with Cinderella and her princess friends in the castle itself. Of course, this is one of those offerings that is suspended temporarily, and it's just weird to see those doors shut. It is such a hot ticket in Walt Disney World, and yet here we are. Mickey's Philharmagic was one of the first attractions I was going to jump on just to see how Disney is managing the flow of crowds in a show environment. You'll notice outside immediately social distance markings that you need to follow. And they did see a line immediately in the extended queue outside. And so as I hopped in that line, you'll notice that folks are definitely minding their P's and Q's. Everybody is spaced out the way that they should be. This is a situation where, because it is a show environment and it's basically filling a theater, they have to do it rather strategically, because typically when you go into a show environment, it's kind of like that herd mentality. Everybody just kind of crushes in through the doors when they open. Everybody runs to the seats. Of course, everybody stops in the middle, because that's what you do. But you're supposed to go to all the way to the end, please. And here we are inside, all socially distanced out. They would stop every few minutes or so. The quoted time for this attraction was 20 minutes, which I thought, wow, that sounds excessive. I mean, I know the show is, 13, 15 minutes in length, something like that. But once we got in, they stopped us for cleaning at one point, and they told us over the loudspeaker they were cleaning the theater, which I appreciated. When you do come in, you are guided over to grab your own glasses and then told to stand on a socially distanced spot that is determined for you. And the cast member at the front does not let anybody else in until he makes sure that everybody is spaced out appropriately and that there's enough space to add additional people. Once the doors opened up, of course, you run in here and you notice that a lot of these seats are marked off as don't sit here, keeping everybody as distanced as possible, and then the show would begin. Outside in Fantasyland, we do take a look at things here. This is mid-morning, and really, again, I mentioned that crowds are light for the most part. The lines themselves are very deceiving. When you see the lines, typically wait times are outstanding. Peter Pan often had like a 30-minute wait, 25-minute wait for It's a Small World repeatedly throughout the day. It's mainly because they need to just distance everybody in that process, and then usually at least once during your wait time, they shut things down for cleaning. And you would hear that repeated time and time again throughout your experience. I noticed here, back by Columbia Harbor House even, this is the extended queue for Peter Pan. So not only are they using all that indoor queue space, they're also using the outside space. Over here by Pinocchio's Village House, I was looking for some ice water because it was especially hot, and they told me, nah, you can't come in and just grab ice water. How about you head on over to Storybook Treats and walk up to the window and ask for that. I noticed that Friar's Nook was closed, and Storybook Treats here is one of the very few options that you have in the park of not mobile ordering. So in order to get into a quick service restaurant like Pinocchio's Village House, you need to order something and have it alerted on your phone as being an order that is fulfilled in order to access the restaurant. So they are controlling things to a big degree. But for a park that is so hot in the middle of summer, and you need that ice water, and you become conditioned to just walking into a quick service restaurant to ask for some. It is a little bit of a chore to have to then go stand in line somewhere just to get your water. I'm not complaining. I'm just mentioning that for a park that's really concerned about, heat exhaustion and people that are already wearing masks in this environment, to have to go stand in that line can be a bit of a chore, can be rather difficult. Enchanted Tales with Belle is currently dark because it is a close proximity experience. You see here, Be Our Guest Restaurant is open for dining reservations and a place that you could come enjoy a table service meal, lunch and dinner right now. And then as we venture on over to Gaston's Tavern, it is unfortunately closed. However, I did notice that there is a line next to Gaston's Tavern, and I thought, where's this line going? And it's one of the socially distanced lines that stretch all the way from the front of the Little Mermaid attraction, Ariel's Undersea Adventure, all the way back here by the restrooms to Gaston's Tavern. And Bonjour Village Gifts right there, also closed. There's a lot that is closed in these little nooks and crannies, and just some of the major attractions and some of the major quick service restaurants are open. But a lot of the charm, I would say, of the Magic Kingdom seems to be just shuttered at the moment for the sake of allowing proper distancing and space for people. You see here the turkey leg shack just across from the Little Mermaid attraction, also shut down. Very few options in terms of carts in general, land to land. A lot of those are closed. Then I noticed over here by Storybook Circus and the backside of the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train ride that the line for the mine train wrapped all the way around here to the backside. You see where that umbrella is. That is where the cast member is standing for the attraction. And this is the experience that everybody wants, consistently a 45-minute wait throughout the day. You see here the front of the attraction, lots of folks that are waiting for it, lots of folks that can't wait to get on. Again, I reiterate, you'll hear me say it time and time again, the wait times are minimal for the sake of cleaning the ride while you are waiting. Otherwise, I think it'd be about 15 to 20 minutes by traditional standards. You saw there, Big Top Gifts, Souvenirs is closed and shut down. Here, Pete's Silly Sideshow, which used to be a place you could come meet characters, has now been turned into a relaxation station, a place where you could come in, take off your mask, and enjoy some lovely AC in this Florida heat. And this is a place where everybody can come in, get themselves separated, and enjoy themselves just some nice indoor quiet time. It is a little odd not seeing any of the characters in there, as we've become conditioned to. The Cheshire Cat shop where you can grab your favorite cupcakes is closed, but just across the way you have the Starlight Cafe. Oh my goodness, who doesn't love cosmic rays? You do need to have, again, a mobile order activated and fulfilled in order to access the restaurant itself, and you need to show the cast member before you can go in. One of the few locations where you do not need that, in addition to Storybook Treats that we saw earlier, here, Sleepy Hollow, which is why they have so much exterior queue space set up. You see all the markings on the ground just in case the line gets backed up. This is one of those you can just walk right up to the window and ask for some help, ask for a waffle or two. And then you notice off here to the side, a lot of tables have been removed in the seating area, and they've all been properly socially distanced. We did notice that everywhere we went. We being I, of course. I like to say we sometimes. Liberty Tree Tavern is one of those restaurants that you need a reservation for right now, but it is a table service option for you. Look around, Frontierland Liberty Square Junction. It is 3 p.m. in the afternoon at this point. And crowds are still relatively light and quiet. It is the heat of the day after all. I didn't see necessarily any crowds diminish throughout the day. It seemed about the same everywhere I went. And I noticed that the Liberty Square Open Air Market also had a lot of exterior seating that was properly spaced out. Haunted Mansion had a 30-minute wait. I decided to jump in line just to see how they were handling this experience. And this was an extended queue, the likes of which I've never seen. We were extended all the way up and around. I mean, this is like Christmas level extended queues, very, very long, just to get into the Haunted Mansion. However, I will say it was a short amount of time overall. I mean, that line just never stopped moving. We were always progressing, and the actual time to get in was 23 minutes overall. The reason why 23 minutes? We got in at about the 17-minute mark, and they shut down for cleaning as we were standing just past the stretching room. So putting things in perspective, again, wait times relatively low, but they were shutting down for cleaning repeatedly to ensure that everybody had the safest environment possible. Over here in Adventureland, lots of things are closed back here. Kind of killed the vibe of Adventureland when all these little nook and cranny shops are closed. Enchanted Tiki Room was a place you could go get your AC. Not necessarily much of a wait here, I suppose, as is typical. Unfortunately, it is a special attraction to me, though. And the Magic Carpets of Aladdin is operating. You do see the Jungle Cruise. This also had like a 40-minute wait somewhere in that category, and they have an extended queue outside that wraps back and forth to ensure social distancing is properly abided by. This was an attraction where they've added plexiglass to the boats themselves to ensure everybody is as spaced out and as controlled as possible. Over here by Pirates of the Caribbean, this section of the park also had an outdoor extended queue in addition to the interior queue, everything being utilized. Around the corner, our friends at the Relaxation Station in this area were standing by for us. It is an outdoor relaxation station, not so much in terms of anywhere you can cool off at, so this was the less popular of the experiences when it came to relaxing. Splash Mountain, venturing off to this end of the park, definitely had one of the longest waits of the day, I would say, next to our friends over at the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train ride. This was repeatedly between that 35 to 45 minute category. Just a lot of spaced out queue, a lot of cleaning that had to be done. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad routinely saw 30 to 35 minutes of waiting as well. The line never stopped here, and they did fill the cars intermittently, so as to ensure that everybody had an opportunity to not be, piled on top of each other one after another. Here at Pecos Bill's Tall Tale Inn Cafe, another one of those popular quick service restaurants where it is required to have that mobile order in order to access the expansive indoor seating. Country Bear Jamboree was open with its limited capacity, and one thing that I thought was fun, Big Al, oh my gosh, what the heck, the Country Bears were on top of their balcony waving and saying hello to everybody as they passed by. As the day was nearing to a close, we do see here near the Central Hub area, it was getting rather quiet. Lots of people were starting to leave. I did notice that it was starting to peter out just a little bit. Crystal Palace near Main Street, a character dining hotspot, had virtually no attention because it was closed, unfortunately. So one of those experiences we hope to have back someday. We understand why it would be closed. I swung around the corner. I saw KC's Corner, also closed. So a lot of these are kind of hallmarks of the experience, especially on Main Street USA. It was a little weird to see everything shuttered, but I understand that this is probably being done for the sake of true safety and spacing. Main Street's awfully busy most of the time anyway. Across the street from that, the ice cream parlor. That right there was kind of a deal breaker for me because ice cream on Main Street is kind of critical, right? Like that's the most important thing that you go to Main Street for. So that was tough to see closed. Plaza Restaurant, table service restaurant, is open though. Very limited capacity in there. Got to have a reservation. Moving up the corridor, Tomorrowland Terrace does have an additional relaxation station that you can take part in. This is air conditioned and has their fans on, so it's an outdoor air conditioned environment. Really smart use of space over here because virtually it's never open anyway. So glad they were using that space. We head on over to Tomorrowland, and the Tomorrowland Breezeway here has no marquee attractions on either side that are open. Obviously, the Stitch attraction is gone officially, and now Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor just across the way. Also not an attraction that was available to us on this day. I love this ride. I guess it's a show. I love the show, and it was hard to miss it. But again, I understand it's an attraction that requires you to scream and to laugh and to talk and to yell. So probably not the right thing to have at this time. Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin had a huge geographical area of extended queue because it is so popular usually in the morning hours. You see here they're still using a portion of it on the outside, and that 15-minute wait here around 5 p.m. in the evening. The lunching pad was closed, as were many of the options in Tomorrowland. Outside of Cosmic Rays, and we will see in a moment Anti-Gravity's being open. The People Mover is officially down for refurbishment at this point. Are they coming back? Are they not coming back? What the heck's going on with it? It was closed this day. I was not able to hop aboard my People Mover. Carousel of Progress had some crowds. Everybody was looking for some air conditioning, so it was running and operating in that limited theater capacity. Astro Orbiter also running with limited ability to get you from bottom to top of attraction. And this stage over here often had various characters throughout the day posing at a distance with you. So Buzz Lightyear was seen out there a couple times, Stitch a couple of times. Space Mountain routinely had a 20 to 30 minute wait throughout the day, stopping for cleaning. Lots of exterior space to queue up in. And the Tomorrowland Speedway, not so busy. A single popcorn cart, as well as the Joffrey's Coffee Shop here in Tomorrowland, were open. Otherwise, the rest of the carts in the region were all shut down. And as I had mentioned here just a second ago, Anti-Gravity's ice cream, smoothies, and shakes was also open, a place you could still walk up to and enjoy yourself a delicious treat. The Tomorrowland Breezeway around 6 p.m., very quiet. So this was the point in the day where a lot of folks were leaving. There was about an hour left in the park operation, and folks were ready to head home. Hoping that they will find a good replacement for the Stitch attraction. It is a marquee spot right there up front in Tomorrowland. Back in the Central Hub area, I noticed that there was a handful of people that were waiting for PhotoPass. Throughout the day, though, most people don't have to wait at all for PhotoPass. So typically, you can just walk right up and the PhotoPass photographers are ready for you. Here on Main Street, I wanted to mention that the Main Street Bakery is open. The Starbucks location is open and ready for you, and a beautiful air-conditioned location that you can jump in and grab your caffeine fix. This is also one of the areas that has the most important store in the park, because it is the biggest by size, the Emporium. Here on Main Street, the Emporium definitely was controlling access. They didn't need to at this point, but usually at the close of the day when everybody goes shopping for the final time, they do have social distance markings outside to ensure that people are queued up properly just to go in to shop if they need it. Across the street from the Emporium is the Center Street area, and it is one of my favorite little nooks in all of Walt Disney World, mainly because it's so quiet. There's really nothing going on back here. It's a great place for photos. Really charming, as Main Street is just in general. Highly encourage you to head on back there and spend some time for the gram. Spend some time for Instagram. Barber's shop here in Town Square is a casualty of what's going on right now, so it's temporarily closed. One day I will get my hair cut there, and I will bring it to you. Throughout the day, I noticed that characters were atop the train station, waving and saying hello to guests from a distance. You see our friends Aladdin, Pooh, Peter Pan, our friend Mary Poppins, Alice, Tigger, and Gaston. Yeah, he wasn't having it. Not too thrilled to be there. Also in Town Square, the area you would normally meet Mickey as well as Tinkerbell, off limits at this point, only being reserved for the Tony's Town Square restaurant overflow waiting area. Not a restaurant that is typically as popular as the other restaurants in Magic Kingdom, but a space that is being utilized for that. As the park came to a close, Mickey and the gang came out on the train station to say goodnight to everybody. They do this for about 10 minutes, and then they take a little break, and then they come back, kind of giving everybody that ability to leave and then have another row of families move in. It's a very smart way of handling this so that not everybody bunches up and just stays there the entire time, and it allows for folks to move on while they reset, and then they can come back and say goodbye once more. As the park closed for the day, I really appreciated seeing just how the entire operation was closing up as folks were leaving in mass. You do see the monorails moving in to pick people up to take them back to their parking area. Those are socially distanced, as are the ferries, where you are told that you need to stand on specific dots and stay properly distanced from folks throughout the entire experience. You also notice that when it comes to buses, as I was heading back to my resort, there are very few resorts even open still. More are coming online throughout the months as Disney brings different resorts back. But as of right now, very few resorts are even being offered. So the ones that are have ample bus space and lots of buses that are prepared to pick people up and take people home. This is kind of a dream. Oftentimes at the end of a Magic Kingdom day, you wait forever for buses, and then typically they get packed, and then you wait forever for the next bus as you continue to wait in line. This was not the case, and it was very nice. Not only the accordion bus showed up here, I was stopped just shy of entering this bus where they are also telling you where to sit and how, but another bus showed up right behind it. I was put on board, and you see here that everybody is separated by dividers, and everybody is sent to their own specific section when it comes to numbers. So each driver is very adamant that you follow these directions, and just another way that they are going out of their way at Disney to ensure that you are well taken care of. And now the questions you want to know about. Is it safe? Well, I will share with you that I experienced packs of cast members throughout the day that were just dedicated to enforcing the rules. In addition to that, cast members that were at the front of attractions that were doing specific job tasks, they were not afraid to call out bad behavior. They were not afraid to call out health and safety measures that were being violated. Now, I didn't see it too much. I did see it every once in a while where somebody might have a mask down underneath their nose or might have just the chin strap action going on. That was few and far between. I will also share that when entertainment was happening, people kind of just forgot what they were doing, and everybody stopped and were so excited that they weren't bothering to look around them. So that is something to definitely consider, and certainly a situation you might find yourself in if you choose to visit. Measures were expansive. Even when I was at the Haunted Mansion, they filled no doom buggy to the left and right of me. It was just me with 2 empty doom buggies, so it was extra spooky. Is it comfortable? The relaxation stations are properly spaced. You have 2 options that are air conditioned. I thought that was awesome. I will say that dining and water, they are a chore. So if you were looking to grab some ice water in this really hot environment and you haven't brought your own and you just kind of got used to getting ice water from Disney quick service restaurants like a lot of us regulars have, it is something that's difficult to get now because the front doors are guarded of the quick service restaurants. In addition to that, dining in general, you do need that mobile order. You do need to work for it. You can't just walk in, peruse the menu, order. So the comfortable nature of the park, things are a little bit more rigid. Things are a little bit more rule-driven. Definitely something to keep in mind if that is going to play into your trip and potentially be a hindrance because you do need to order everything online ahead of time. Very few walk-up locations even available now. So is it worth it overall? I will share that this was an experience where I was kind of blown away by the amount of entertainment that was being offered. It was just nonstop, it felt like at times, and they just kept moving, which I thought was awesome. The low wait times, even though some of the wait times are quoted as like 40 to 45 minutes, I've mentioned here many times already that that's usually because they're cleaning in between, and so the wait times realistically are much shorter. Limited food options, I think, is definitely a drawback of the experience. No parades, no nighttime spectaculars that the Magic Kingdom is known for. So if you're somebody that this is a once-in-a-lifetime trip or a once-in-an-every-3-year trip, you probably don't want to come right now. But if you're a regular that comes ever so often and you're not necessarily looking for those extras, well, my friends, this might be the Walt Disney World experience for you. But all information that we wanted to share to ensure that you had the best possible knowledge before you make that personal decision. We hope that you have enjoyed Walt Disney World in Pandemic Magic Kingdom. Check out the rest of the videos that I have done on my personal experience in each park, as well as my travel day and my experience at Disney's Pop Century Resort via the Magical Express. It's Wade for the Kingdom Report. We'll see you next time.